below possession and then rebound. Iona plus 40 on the glass. 3 games in this tournament. Fairfield, you've got to acquit yourself there.
Well, Taj Benning, the lone senior in the starting lineup for the Stags. You see he had a terrific outing against Monmouth, the regular season co-champions. Dropped a career-high 24 points, but was held silent. Only 2 points in yesterday's semifinal win over St. Peter. So we are just about set and underway for this championship game between Iona and Fairfield. Iona seeking its 13th MAC championship in program history. 8 finals appearances in a row. Of course, no MAC title game last year because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Off the mark there, and the Stags, as you mentioned, will be really methodical in this half court, really work that shot clock, just try to wear you down.
Yeah, they play at one of the slowest tempos in the country. They run a set every time down, and they force you to play the entire shot clock of defense.
See 5 left on the shot clock. Caleb Green back out, Wojcik ball fake, steps into that 3, and it's no good. Iona taking a look at that starting lineup. We told you about the lone senior for the Stags. How about the 2 in the backcourt for the Gales, Asante Gist and Isaiah Ross. Ross, who did not have himself a nice game, as we see those starting lineups brought to you by Ready Nutrition. So Ross, they will look to get him going and involved in the offense early.
Well, yeah, he's the MAC's leading scorer. I hope they would. He's already taken a shot, which he missed. He has not played well in this tournament. 3 games, he's 4 of 14 from 3, 31%. He's got 14 turnovers in those 3 games. But they rely on those guys. Both that backcourt for Iona, Gist and Ross, 24 years old, both of them. Redshirt seniors, grizzled veteran guards in Iona's backcourt.
And it was Nelly Jr. Joseph who helped the Gales get off to a good start in last game, and there he's able to drop the first 2 points of this one. Nelly Jr. Joseph, the MAC Rookie of the Year. Stags come into today's game winners of 4 straight. That turnaround won't fall. Ross looking for a shot, elbow jumper, falls.
And it's a good sign because he is an elite catch and shoot player. His percentages go way down when you force him to put it on the floor. A nice pull up there off the dribble.
Caleb Green running this offense. Zach Chrysler getting the start for the Stags. Here's Benning, and it's stripped away, so 1 and done again this time. Steal, good defense from Iona, back the other way. And you talked about that contrast of styles, but Gales working in the half court here as Gifts can't connect.
You know, Iona's defense is an area where they have really improved. This, of course, a program had the longest layoff in Division I basketball because of COVID, a 51-day layoff at one point this season. Oh, by the way, they had an 18-plus day layoff as well. Defense, you know, we're so used to Rick Pitino teams at Louisville, Kentucky, that were so complicated defensively. They press you, traps coming from places you didn't know, zones that you didn't know exactly how they were rotating. Very vanilla this year. Man-to-man, but they are playing as good a man-to-man as they have all season long.
Well, the first year, head coach Rick Pitino is 1 win away from returning to the NCAA tournament, and this is a team who has long been the top dog in the MAC as Ross comes up short. Winners of 4 straight titles. We talked about that season interruption last year. Wonderful pass, not able to put it up inside. They kick it around, keep the ball moving. Caleb Green leaves it short. Good rebound on the inside. Supreme Cook, and then continuing just to stay with the second chance efforts.
Yeah, I love that freshman. He should have taken the first shot after the pass from Wojcik. 6'9", 200 pounds from East Orange, New Jersey. Has really come on of late. He's going to be big today, trying to match that length that Iona has up front.
Inside and deep to Dylan Von Eyck. Von Eyck, who gave the Gales a nice boost off the bench. Can't talk, excuse me. Yesterday. Inside again, they find Cook. And Cook is fouled.
Supreme Cook had 11 points, 14 rebounds, a double-double in their game against Monmouth. He is going to be huge today for the Fairfield Stags.
You're not just another policyholder to us. We remember your name. Hi, Cheryl.
He remembered my name.
Because it's your name. That's simple human sense. Ask your independent agent if auto owners makes sense for you.
Reggie Miller said he moved in for March Madness, but he definitely chose Wendy's for the breakfast.
The tournament doesn't start for like a week.
The tournament doesn't start for like a week.
Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's, official breakfast of March Madness.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by SoFi. Get your money right. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength. And BSN Sports, the largest distributor of team sports apparel and equipment in the U.S. Well, you see the impressive pipes, the largest organ in the U.S., and they played the national anthem just before this game on those pipes. It was just, I like enjoyed hearing it. I felt like I was maybe in a church service or somewhere. I mean, anytime I hear an organ, I get excited.
I do too. A beautiful sound. Absolutely. Much respect to the organs. And much respect to this guy at the line, Supreme Cook. What a stud he has become, but what a stud he's going to be. A big part of that game yesterday. I mentioned he's from New Jersey. He was AAU teammates with Taj Benning, his teammate now. They were on an AAU team called the New Jersey Roadrunners. The first time I ever saw the New Jersey Roadrunners was when I went to see Kyrie Irving playing in an AAU game. He was on the New Jersey Roadrunners.
And now both Cook and Benning part of this 2021 Stags championship team, hoping to bring home a title for the first time in 24 years back to Fairfield, Connecticut. Nice pass inside, and Junior Joseph, we saw him do a lot of that as Barrick John Luis able to get the bucket.
Go into
Cruz moving around. Cruz, who came off the bench and got double digits, out in transition now. Here's Giss going all the way, full steam ahead, kisses it off the glass. Sante Giss, a player so important to this Iona program's success, especially this season. Cruz with the look. Jesus Cruz missing off the mark there. An early 8-2 advantage for the 9 seed Iona Gales. You think to yourself, okay, the 9 seed at 6-3 in conference play. They're no run-of-the-mill 9 seed team if you watch them this season, but the seeding based on the number of wins, and you referenced earlier, Chris, just the number of times that this program has been out of play, and COVID really disrupted a lot of their season.
They're the most talented team in the MAC. There is no question about that. I mean, they have terrific scoring in their backcourt. They have really young talent up front, good length, good athletes, obviously a good coach, a Hall of Fame coach. They're the most talented team, but the league, as you said, they did it by gross wins instead of winning percentage. Some of the coaches in the league not completely happy with that format. I don't think it was the right way to do it, but nonetheless, you know, we have what I think is the most talented team in the league in this championship game, and a team that's been so solid, just so tough and physical, especially defensively in Fairfield.
John Luis, top of the key three, and that's no good. Junior Rose coming up with the rebound for Fairfield. Right now, the Stags struggling from the field, just 1 of 9, only 2 points in this ball game. But we saw last night, Chris, that this is a team that will just hang around, they'll hang around, and you don't want them to do that because that plays right into their hands. On the take as the shot clock expired. That didn't even touch iron, so the violation against Fairfield.
Well, and you'll see that a lot. I mean, they are shooting at the end of clocks.
We're coming up on Selection Sunday at 7 Eastern on ESPN and the app. It's Bracketology with Reese, Jay Billis, Jay Will, Seth, and Dickie V. They'll break down the brackets and more. SportsCenter will start us off at 5:15 when Reese and the guys will reveal the NCAA men's field of 68 teams will be announced on that day as well. One of these two teams will go on to represent the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference in that field of 68. Gene Rose putting it on the deck and not able to finish around the rim up the left side. Kiss, catch, shoot, won't go. Fairfield working their way, having to do everything they can to get a bucket, and there's Cruz. Von Eyck working on Cruz. Turn around, puts it up, kisses it off the backboard.
Von Eyck had a really good offensive day yesterday. Season high 14 in that game against Niagara. Coach Pitino lathered up, getting into his team. They got an early lead though. Dylan Von Eyck, nice little soft touch off the glass. Iona up 6.
For 175 years, New York Life has been helping people act on their love.
Okay.
So they can look back and say, we did good.
Trying to nourish your skin? Leave it to Tula. Their clean and effective skincare is formulated with probiotics and superfoods, like watermelon and chia seeds. So feed your skin the good stuff. Try Tula today at Tula.com.
You flash back to 2018, and it was Iona and Fairfield in that championship game. Zach Lewis would go on to have a great tournament. He was the MVP, even though Griffin was the high scorer and the Gales were in the midst of their title run. They went on to win 83-71, and they like to claim 4 straight because of last year's disruption and cancellation of the season. Iona has gone on to win 4 from 2016 to 2019 under Tim Clues, and now first-year head coach Rick Pitino was looking to become the 5th first-year head coach in the MAC to win a championship. See the banners hanging inside historic Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City. Von Eyck trying to go work again on that block, and Junior Joseph trying to wrestle away with that one, not able to come up. Iona, what do they have to do offensively to try to get some kind of spark here, Chris?
You're talking about Maris? Or Fairfield?
Fairfield.
I mean, they got to start finishing. You know, they've had shots at the basket, even there. I mean, you know, they've got to finish. But let's not forget now, they got down 10 last night to St. Peter's in that game, and their defense, because of how solid they are, they can force teams to drought. I mean, look, it's been a struggle to score for them all year. Offense is not what they do. They've got to force their opponent to go over some scoring droughts over a period of time.
That one dropping down for Von Eyck. Dylan Von Eyck, the senior out of the Netherlands. He was a perfect 5 for 5 from the floor in that semifinal. Cruz trying to bully his way down, and Joseph coming away with it.
It's not a good shot. You know, so often we talk about perimeter shots being not good shots. That's a post up that never got going, and just not a good shot at the end of it.
We saw Von Eyck knock down that perimeter shot for Iona, but they have really found success inside the paint.
Nice block out.
Falling to the floor was Benning. Here comes Caleb Green, and he's fouled.
The more I watch Caleb Green, the more I really like him. The transfer from Holy Cross. You know, he's more, he came in with the reputation of kind of being a system guy, but he really makes them go. He's a terrific quarterback of their offense. Had a really nice night last night against St. Peter's. Those points were big, but just his control of the game. You know, he possesses the ball, he holds his dribble. He's a really good cutter and a little bit undersized, only about 5'10", but he's a pretty good finisher once he gets it into the paint to the rim.
Well, he's been a nice addition for second-year head coach Jay Young, and he fits this gritty, tough style of play. They oftentimes just play within themselves, true to themselves, and within the system. They're trailing by 5 with just over 9 to go in this first half. Gets crossover, handles, can't finish. Joseph with the rebound. The O board creates that opportunity there for that floater from Isaiah Ross. Benning dribbling to that right side. Fall away jumper is no good. Just hands it back over to Ryan Myers. And an offensive foul called on the freshman out of Brooklyn.
Nice take there by Jake Wojcik. Here's Isaiah Ross, the Max leading scorer, and teams are running at him because he is catch and shoot is what he does and what he wants to do. But a couple nice shots here early off the dribble. A guy who, again, he's really struggled. It's not necessarily the shooting percentage, it's the turnovers. 14 turnovers in 3 tournament games.
You know, his coach called him out, Chris, you know, and saying, hey, Isaiah Ross, he's a senior, but he played like a freshman last night. And that's one of the things where he said that was the worst offensive game that I've seen him play this year, but what he has done for us all season long, he was confident that he would be able to rebound and already matching the point total from last night. As a great take there from Supreme Cook, let you know that he's a premier player for the Stags. That jumper falls bare. John Luis, who has shown great athleticism, an outstanding defensive player as well, gets it done on both ends of the floor for Iona. They get it into Cook again. A couple of maroon jerseys around there. Wojcik pump fake and traveling violation.
Well, the freshman Supreme Cook has been a culinary delight to start this game. He's really been their most consistent offense, the freshman.
For 175 years, New York Life has been helping people act on their love.
Okay.
So they can look back and say, we did good.
Wendy's new jalapeno popper chicken sandwich and salad prove Wendy's goes all in on flavor. Unlike...
We put a bun inside the sandwich. Bun, bun, bun.
Hurry into Wendy's and try the new jalapeno popper chicken duo today.
For 175 years, New York Life has been helping people act on their love.
Okay.
So they can look back and say, we did good.
Reggie Miller said he moved in for March Madness, but he definitely chose Wendy's for the breakfast.
The tournament doesn't start for like a week.
The tournament doesn't start for like a week.
Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's, official breakfast of March Madness.
Trying to decide their champion, Wichita State and Cincy, currently going on over on ESPN2. Following that, you'll see 2 versus 3, Houston and Memphis. You can catch it again over on ESPN2 with the culmination of the championship game tomorrow on our ESPN family of networks as well. This is just a great time of year. You turn on your TV, Chris, and you're going to see basketball nonstop.
Yes, you will. That's a big game for Memphis. Lenardi had them as either one of the last 4 in or last 4 out. I always get confused. I wish we could just call it the bubble. But that's a big game for Memphis.
Led by Anthony Hardaway. Foul underneath, and Chris, as we kind of just take a quick revisit of your keys to the game and looking at what Iona wanted to do coming in your mind, are they valuing the basketball? Are they, getting the ball to Ross enough?
Yeah, I mean, I think they've gotten it to Ross. I mean, the key is not turning it over. That's what changed the game last night. They were up 24 on Niagara and then started giving Niagara the ball, ended the game with 16 turnovers. That's what changed the tide. In a game where this is probably going to be in the 50s, you cannot afford to give away possessions.
And conversely, when you see the Stags come down the court and run their half-court offense, do you feel like they've done a good job of controlling the tempo and letting Iona play at their speed?
Yeah, I think this is right where Fairfield wants it. There's a couple shots, couple finishes at the basket that they would want, but that's what they do, Tiffany. Like, you could say, well, that's a lucky shot, but how many of those did they hit last night? They want to drain that clock all the way down to that buzzer, and sometimes they're going to throw up a flyer, but they actually hit a pretty decent percentage of shots like that. They just are so comfortable in that tempo they play. I was talking to Casey Stanley, Rick Pitino's assistant coach, this morning, and he said, they've always played slow under Jay Young, but it seems like they're playing slower in this MAC tournament.
Yeah. And when you look at, the styles of play, Niagara kind of did, had a similar approach. And Rick Paulus says, well, that nice take on the left hand, and Taj Benning starting to feel it a little bit, bringing his team within a bucket. Will come right back here, just over 5 to go in this first half. We got a good ball game in this MAC championship.
Why send a birthday cake? We can think of a few reasons. Send cake. Order now at milkbarstore.com.
Reggie Miller said he moved in for March Madness, but he definitely chose Wendy's for the breakfast.
The tournament doesn't start for like a week.
The tournament doesn't start for like a week.
Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's, official breakfast of March Madness.
Rick Pitino's crew up by just a couple of points here in this first half. And really, when you look at the defensive mindset that he has brought to this team, right now they've got to lock down a little bit because Fairfield has seen some successful trips down the floor, scoring in 3 of their last 4 here. It's Iona getting the ball out of the break. And between John Luis and Isaiah Ross, they've put up 4 points each. Yes, deep 3, got it!
Scoring guard. He is a Rick Pitino scoring guard, a guy who's played off the ball his entire career, moved to the point. He is a dynamic scorer.
And the type of point guard that Rick Pitino says I just love. I mean, because he wants the ball in his hands. He's done a great job at the free throw line as well. Wojcik trying to take it inside out. Here's Cruz in the corner. Caleb Green spotting it up and knocking it down.
And a nice spot in the corner. He found open space, and that's where the penetration playing inside out. So effective.
Close ball game favoring Iona. They stretch that lead back out to 4. That fall away jumper again. Gist putting up points quick, fast, and in a hurry.
You know, there were a lot of folks who were dubious of Gist as a point guard, but you know, you look at the Peyton Sivas of the world, you look at the Donovan Mitchell scoring guards who have played the point for Rick Pitino. This young man played for Bob Hurley Sr. at St. Anthony, won a state championship there with him. He can really fill it up. Asante Gist on a step back. He is wet.
It's time to take a trip, right from your living room. Travel now more than ever. This is Hydro. Get yours at hydro.com.
Reggie Miller said he moved in for March Madness, but he definitely chose Wendy's for the breakfast.
The tournament doesn't start for like a week.
The tournament doesn't start for like a week.
Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's, official breakfast of March Madness.
On top, and Asante Gist is a scoring point guard you like. Like him, Chris, and what have you seen from him so far?
He drives the show. He is the engine for this team. I mentioned earlier, he's 24 years old. He was a transfer from Eastern Kentucky. He's on his 4th coach. Rick Pitino is Asante Gist's 4th coach. Isaiah Ross, too. Both those guys have had 4 coaches in their careers. And the thing you love about Gist is just his heart, man. He really... He's super confident. He's the vocal leader. Ross more the quiet type of guy, you know, not a rah-rah guy. Gist is the vocal guy. He's very good in ball screens. He's had a terrific season.
And an outstanding tournament, averaging 16 points over 3 games. Both of these teams playing their 4th game in 4 days. Got to get a shot up before the shot clock expires. Ross not able to do so. The violation and out of the timeout. Not the type of possession that the Gales would have wanted. Ross saying, my bad.
Both these teams in this tournament are holding their opponents. Fairfield holding opponents to 55 points a game, Iona 54. Their defenses have been outstanding.
Ross in transition, pulls up for the 3. And as a reminder to our viewers, Championship Week continues here over on ESPN. The Big 12, ACC, and Pac-12 tournaments. You can see them starting at 6 o'clock over on ESPN. Oregon State, Colorado closing out with that right there. Meanwhile, these two teams trying to earn a shot in the NCAA tournament, and Gist falling away. That one is good, and Asante Gist now with 9 points in this ball game. And including the last 7 for Iona. So he has been a one-man wrecking show. That one tipped away. Shima got a hand on it. Jean-Louis couldn't collect himself, but that's okay because Dwayne Caroma was right there to put it back.
Turnovers will kill you. You know, the thing that really saved Fairfield last night, St. Peter's turns teams over 15 times a game. Fairfield had 5 turnovers last night. They already have 5 in this game. And you see what the result of that will be. Iona, that's oxygen for them. In this game where this pace is so slow, and for Iona, they've got to defend for 25, almost 30 seconds of possession. You give it up. I mean, they were out of the blocks, and you see how athletic they can be. They've got finishers, and then they've got length and size to follow up those misses. You have got to take care of the ball here if you're Fairfield.
Well, this is a 6-0 run for Iona out to their largest lead of the game with just under 2 minutes to go before heading into the locker room. And look, this is something that we saw from the Gales last night. And so if you're Jay Young, you got to be feeling confident about your team because the Gales nearly squandered a 24-point lead yesterday against Iona. So it was a tale of 2 halves, starting out strong in that first half, everything seemingly going right. Taj Benning, who's awakened here to start this game. Gis slowing it down. It's setting that half court. Crossover, a little hesitation, and draws the foul.
You can't ever relax. Like you think you may have fought over the ball screen, and he may pull it back just for a second to give you the hezzy, and then he's coming right back at you. He did it 3 times. It was the initial thrust, then he backed it out, and then he came back, another one. He's just so shifty, and he's got that body. You know, look at it. He gives you a hezzy, gives you another one, and then he goes into the shot and draws the foul. Just a veteran guard.
Gis now the only scorer in double figures, running up that right side along with Caleb Green. Fairfield taking their time inside a minute. Wojcik over to Green. Green lets it fly, and that may have been deflected by Gis. A good defense for Iona. Ross working on Benning. Ross floats it up, gets it to fall.
He's got the float game going. The little float game for Isaiah Ross in full effect. And these guards, this is the full complement. We did not get the full complement of Gist and Ross in the semifinal. We are seeing the full complement in this first half.
Well, just a reminder, the Audi halftime report coming up with Jordan Cornett, Dallin Cuff, and John Crispin. They'll be talking bracketology and the final hours of Champ Week and the beauty of being able to hear the coaches with no fans really in the stands. He said, Rick Pitino just said, I just told you, no foul, no foul. Let's close out this half. Let's go into the locker room with the lead and keep it that way. Benning, double dribble, turns it over.
You know, Taj Benning did not have a good night last night. We've made that point. I think he's pressing a little bit, and they're really getting after him.
Iona closes out.
For Iona. Isaiah Ross, Asante Gist, 7 of 14 from the field combined, 17 points. And really, that run, that end of the half, is what created this differential. A 10-0 run, some turnovers, penetration, Gist off the ball screen. Really broke down this Fairfield defense that has been so good in this tournament to this point.
And we will see just how Iona responds out of the locker room. You know, one of the conversations Rick Pitino said he had with his team in last game, just against Niagara, how important it was for them to play to win, essentially, right? And playing with a lead, he says, is the toughest thing you can do in basketball at the college and pro level. And when they went into that second half, the biggest mistake was they were just playing to run out the clock. So let's see if they can put their foot on the gas, have that killer instinct to try to close out Fairfield. Taj Benning says, wait a minute, we got 20 minutes of basketball to play. He knocks down the big shot.
Well, the key to any comeback, it starts with your defense. You've got to string stops together, and that's one thing Fairfield can do.
Gets the stop as Joseph whistled for the offensive foul. With the adjustments at halftime, both coaches looking at it. What does Fairfield need to do to come back in this one? Knocking down outside shots is obviously important to them.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's important to any team. They've got to string stops together. You know, again, their offense has not been what they hang their hat on. You look on Ken Palm or any analytical site, Fairfield not good on the offensive end, but they can get after you defensively, make you drought, and then work themselves back in, chip away, kind of like they did in that game against St. Peter's.
The take and the contest at the rim. Offensive rebound for the Gales. They swing it around. John Louise driving baseline again, picks up his dribble, finds Karoma, and he's fouled underneath the basket. Jake Wojcik whistled for the personal foul.
It'd be nice if Wojcik would hit a shot. You mentioned Tiffany doing that. He was huge in the second half. You know, they need their leading scorer, Jake Wojcik, to bang down some shots here in this second half.
Is who we saw go on a personal run of his own, had 9 of his 11 points in greater than 3.5 minutes. Rims in and out. Wojcik back the other way. Taj Benning driving baseline, spins out, kicks it to Chrysler. Chrysler with the ball fake, and way off the mark there.
A great shot fake, but you could tell from the release, it's not where he's most comfortable.
This Iona team, the 9 seed. First in MAC history to play in a conference championship game, seeking their 13th conference crown, excuse me. Rematch of the 2018 championship, but it's been a while for the Stags since they were the top dog in the conference. Spin move, and Joseph coming from behind and swatting it away.
Man, you said it, coming from behind, a good spin. Cruz loves that spin. And that's a foul. I'm sorry, that is a foul.
Certainly got a lot of body, but didn't get called for. That's okay, because Wojcik, the leading scorer, he just knocked it down for Fairfield. They're within 7. Those are his first points of the ball game. Ross taking it to the lane. And he's fouled on the way up, being guarded by Taj Benning. And Benning thought, hey, I thought I got good position in defense. But he's whistled for its second personal.
You know, Rick Pitino's done a nice job with Isaiah Ross. You know, on both ends. Under Tim Kluse, they had great success. But if we're being honest, defense was optional at times with Tim Kluse. Rick Pitino has not compensated. He has demanded that Isaiah Ross become a complete player. He's challenged him to become a complete player. And this is one of those. You can't just be a standstill shooter. At times, you've got to take the fight to the opponent. Ross, a guy who's been around talent, played with DeAndre Ayton and Marvin Bagley his last year in high school at Hillcrest Prep in Arizona.
Good defense and ball pressure there on the inbound. And I'll say this, when Ross knew he was going to play for the Hall of Fame coach, Rick Pitino, he said, okay, look, let me take this off season to get myself together, right? To get my home in order. Worked on his lateral and foot speed to try to be, you know, quicker on the court. Tried to boost his endurance and conditioning as well, just knowing the type of system that they would play in. But as you said before, Chris, this is a program which is just one of 5 in the country who have seen number of stops, the longest layoff, that 51-day layoff because of COVID-19 and positive tests. And it's been a challenge for Iona at parts this season to be physically up to speed.
Nice, and he's attacking. Goes to his right hand there. He's usually very left-hand dominant on the drive. But nice not settling for that perimeter shot. Saw that the block was unoccupied. Open drive. Takes it to his right hand. Isaiah Ross, he's got a daughter, Avery, who is 11 months old. So playing hoops, going to school, and raising a daughter.
Getting it done, a player who spent 2 seasons at UMKC before moving over to Iona. And we mentioned the league's leading scorer here today. He's got 8 points. Gist leads the way, short on that attempt, but that's all right because John Luis is there. And then he knocks over the defender and is called for the offensive foul.
They are a positional defensive team. Fairfield, 2 charges already in this half. There's Wojcik. That is textbook. Feet set, legal guarding position, takes it right to that chest.
Ever wonder how your friends' selfies look so good? It's Facetune 2. Airbrush skin, contour features, swipe away blemishes, and make every photo look amazing. Get Facetune 2 now on the App Store or Google Play.
Bag alert, major bag alert, major bag alert, major bag.
The Bacon Double Stack is back in the biggie bag for just $5. Only at Wendy's.
Major bag alert.
(32-23) Iona with the lead. Well, just a reminder to our viewers, coming up on Selection Sunday at 7 Eastern on ESPN and the app, it's Bracketology with Reese and the guys. They'll break down the brackets, have special guests and more, plus they'll reveal the men's field of 68 as the teams are announced. SportsCenter will kick things off at 5:15, and when you look at, you know, some of the teams who have, you know, punched their ticket already, I mean, it's been a while for a lot of these teams. How about the Hartford Hawks taking care of business, winning their first America East Tournament title to go on to the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I'm so happy for John Gallagher, their head coach, a basketball lifer, salt of the earth. He's a Philly guy. Now, a lot of folks in Bristol claim John Gallagher. You know, the Connecticut folks, they claim he's a Philly guy at his heart. But what a job he's done. I couldn't be happier for him. And I called the Horizon Championship. That Cleveland State team, tough, physical, play with a lot of heart.
Supreme Cook with the bucket. And we talked about, you know, just what Dennis Gates was able to do with that program, second season as the head coach there, and he's got his guys, in the tournament, and I don't know if many expected them to be there. The eye test alone, you said, well, I don't know if they're the best team in the league, but certainly he's got them playing at their best.
Yeah, they were not the most talented team in the Horizon. They were not, but they're the toughest, and an expression of what being together means.
Not what you want to see. Yeah, Gist going down. Call for that offensive foul. 7 turnovers today. 4 have been by way of offensive fouls. We'll check out Gist and more when we come back.
Why send a birthday cake? We can think of a few reasons. Send cake. Order now at milkbarstore.com.
Reggie Miller said he moved in for March Madness, but he definitely chose Wendy's for the breakfast.
The tournament doesn't start for like a week.
The tournament doesn't start for like a week.
Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's, official breakfast of March Madness.
Screen, so he's trying to stay on top of it. A really good defensive play, but you see there how Asante Gist hurts his knee, just banging knees, and that is one of the more painful things that can happen. That's why I always hated ball screen drills in practice, because that was always inevitably going to happen, the banging of knees. Just going to sit this one for a moment here to gather himself, but a really good defensive play there by Caleb Green.
We'll mark that as Ryan Myers, the true freshman, coming in. Knocking down the big triple. There's Jake Wojcik.
Here they come. Here they come. They grind you down, and then they hit timely shots.
10-2 run now for the Fairfield Stags. They're within 4. Myers on that right side along with Joseph, who slipped to the floor. Gets back up, post up, working on Cook off the backboard. Yes.
We haven't said Nelly Jr. Joseph's name much tonight. The freshman of the year in the MAC. He's from Nigeria, went to the NBA Academy Africa in Senegal. Really, really talented.
One of the premier players for Rick Pitino, really excited to have him coming into the program just because of what he's able to do in the open court. Very powerful, even has a nice little mid-range game as well. Joseph just held to 4 points so far in this one. They're looking to go back there again. Spin move. Up and in. All right, now here comes Nelly Jr. Joseph, that MAC Rookie of the Year. He's heating up.
He's got an interesting story. When Rick Pitino got to Iona, he called Gorgie Jang. Gorgie Jang, who plays in the NBA now. Ross on the steal here. Another turnover leading to points. Pitino called Gorgie Jang. He said, do you know any players in Africa? Jang won a national championship with Pitino in 2013. Gorgie Jang said, yeah, I got the guy for you. And they made the connection, and Nelly Jr. Joseph ends up at Iona. What a freshman year he's had, and again, turnovers leading to offense, right, Tiffany? If you give Iona the opportunity, they're going to kill you down back. And it just, just getting out into the passing lane, making that pass difficult, and it's uncharacteristic of this Fairfield team, a team that had 5 turnovers in the game yesterday against St. Peter's, a big part of why they won. 8 turnovers here today.
And this is an Iona group who, again, Rick Pitino's probably talking in that huddle, having to remind them to keep their foot on the gas, keep this pressure, use this to fuel you to try to take out Fairfield. Don't want them to stay in the ball game. As the lead out to 10 now.
We talked about all the pauses that Iona had. I actually think this tournament we've seen them improve in this tournament because of the continuity. You know, they finally have been able to string some games together here. Their defense has gotten significantly better over these 3 days.
Going right at Joseph, and how about Caleb Green, fearless on that take, and it's good. First round win, dominating over Quinnipiac on day one in that quarterfinals, upset top-seeded Siena. 55-52 to go on to that semifinals, dropping Niagara. And that was a game where they saw the final 9.5 minutes without a bucket, and yet they were able to stave off the Purple Eagles. Gets back in the ball game, launches it from three, he hits.
It's a terrific shot. That ball screen was not well guarded. You've got to do a better job on a player like Asante Gist in a ball screen.
Let's see how Fairfield answered, flipped up, and foul on the way. Caleb Green, again, keeping an aggressive mindset for the Stags.
I'm telling you, the more I watch Caleb Green, the more I like him. Transferred from Holy Cross after the coaching change there. Sat out last season, and he's gotten better over the course of the year, but really over the last month, and certainly in this tournament, he's done a really good job quarterbacking this offense.
A redshirt junior out of Londonderry, New Hampshire. And Green hits one of two. Ross and Gist in double figures. Ross with 10. Working on Green. The lefty, sizing him up, pulls up. Alan Jean Rose just too strong. Joseph tried to, and Rick Pitino says, wait a minute, don't do that.
It was a good idea. Van Eyck just stopped cutting. It was actually a nice pass. Asante Gist has one thing on his mind in the pick roll, screen roll. I'm scoring the basketball. If you're Supreme Cook, you got to be higher up on that thing, man.
For 175 years, New York Life has been helping people act on their love.
Okay.
So they can look back and say, we did good.
The Bacon Double Stack is back in the biggie bag for just $5. Only at Wendy's.
In conference tournaments, history always takes center stage. But this year, history shares the stage with something greater. Justice. United, we ball.
Boardwalk Hall has been host to many events. One of the most historic, the 1964 Democratic National Convention, the same year that Lyndon B. Johnson was nominated for president. But Fannie Lou Hamer, a civil rights activist and co-founder of the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, stole the show. Her famous words, "I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired," as she shared her humble beginnings and just trying to help African Americans at the time registered to vote, being involved in the political process, try to bring social justice and equity for all. And certainly we thank her for her efforts, and Black History Always. You can read more about it on theundefeated.com. It's something, Chris, that we've seen brought to the forefront in light of what's happened over the last year and some change in this country. And these are conversations now in living rooms and barber shops and on the job or on Zoom calls that are necessary and needed to be had.
Well said. And I would just add that the MAC has done an unbelievable job this year promoting many of the things you just said. The participating schools and the league have done a magnificent job with all of that.
Iona leading by a dozen on this 11-3 run now. Van Eyck nearly lost it, keeps his balance, and the ball dribbling. He's working inside, left-hand finish around the rim.
I mean, if you just keep giving ground and you don't bring help, which you shouldn't have to against Van Eyck on the block, eventually he's going to end up in front of the rim. I mean, this is just a crowd dribble to death here. And Cruz just kept giving ground. Really good patience and no help. I mean, at that point, as soon as Van Eyck gets 2 feet in the paint, somebody's got to come over and say, okay, enough's enough, and make a play.
Iona did not start the half strong, but since then they've gone 6 of 8, and to your point, yeah, no help there.
Exactly.
Iona out to their largest lead of the ball game, and Jay Young having to spend timeouts still early in the second half, nearly halfway to go, and he only has 1 timeout remaining. Benning on the inbound. Chrysler. Up and under and foul.
And I thought Junior Joseph had that one. I mean, the length, so effective at the basket, but Chrysler did a nice job using that pivot foot. He's kind of wiggling his way to the basket and gets 2 free throws out of it. Yeah, and using that pivot foot, trying to carve out that angle. He actually, I thought he traveled first. That length on Junior Joseph, man, only a freshman. Boy, is he going to be good.
And where's the upside for Junior Joseph?
It's everywhere. I mean, start with the physical gifts, but, I think he could be a more active shot blocker around the rim. He's got to continue to become, he's already a good rebounder, but even more, especially in this league, because you don't see a lot of guys like that. I think more of a dominant double-double type of a rebounder. And then offensively, just developing there.
The hustle plays, this is what you want to see if you're a coach trying to make those winning plays, as you hear coaches talk about, Chris. This is a Fairfield team who went against the nation's leading shot blocker last night in St. Peter's, Casey Nadefo. And when you look at him and check out his measurables, 6'7"?
Maybe.
Yeah, that's why I kind of was, go high at the end. He found a way to get it done, as he was the MAC Defensive Player of the Year in back-to-back seasons. Fairfield tries to look inside. There's Supreme Cook, a couple of maroon and gold jerseys around him. He goes to the floor, still kept alive.
Very nice.
Swinging it around, and Taj Benning not able to knock down the open look.
It's one of those, it's got to go. Down 12, at this tempo, there's only so many possessions left. Great ball reversal. Few extra passes to find an open shot in the corner. You got to knock that down at this point in a championship game.
Von Eyck, wraparound pass, the extra one. Green inside, Cook, trapped, caught up, in the corner. The three from Benning again, a couple of open looks for the senior Taj Benning, and just not going down in his favor.
You're trying to come back in this game, and you go back and you watch the tape. Those 2 threes for Taj Benning, you're going to want those back. And you said it. Almost an identical look from the one he had on the previous possession.
Neither team is shooting the 3-ball particularly well, but certainly Fairfield would have liked to have had those two. Nice pass underneath, and Green gave it away.
It was a nice job by Colton Cashaw staying with the play. He doesn't play a whole lot, but a good instinctive defensive play there to disrupt.
The other seniors on this roster with Gales. Tough on the inbound, and a little bump there from Karoma.
I love that play by Cook. Sometimes the priority is possession of the ball, and sometimes you have to give up position for possession. And it was a nice job. Instead of continuing with his momentum, he came back to the basketball, and he ends up drawing the foul, and thus 2 free throws.
Fairfield will be shooting free throws from here on out inside of 8 minutes.
And those 2 free throws are big. You're leaving some points here off the table if you're Fairfield. Under 8 minutes in a 12-point game.
45-33, trying to close out this ball game and punch their ticket. Iona with the lead.
For 175 years, New York Life has been helping people act on their love.
Okay.
So they can look back and say, we did good.
Reggie Miller said he moved in for March Madness, but he definitely chose Wendy's for the breakfast.
The tournament doesn't start for like a week.
The tournament doesn't start for like a week.
Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's, official breakfast of March Madness.
Here's these 2 looks from Taj Benning in the corner, very identical in how they look. And, look, a game that's played in the 50s, those are the kinds of shots, Tiffany, that, you've got to bang down. And it's not a great perimeter shooting team. Taj Benning only 36% on the year, but when you're trying to beat the most talented team in the MAC to advance to the NCAA tournament, those are the ones you're gonna want to have back. And he's had a terrific season. He's had a pretty good tournament. Was not great yesterday, but those are ones, those are big when you start doing the accounting at the end of a game.
Yeah, and this is the time where players have to lock in. 7 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in this one. Iona is seeking their 5th straight MAC championship. Meanwhile, Fairfield trying to hoist the trophy for the first time since 1997. But they've got some work to do.
Out of the timeout, trying to end this here, trying to put their foot on Fairfield's throat with that pressure, pick it up. They don't press a lot, Iona, which is a shock for a Rick Pitino team.
Stags leading the clock. Under 5 to go. Binning in the lane. That was rejected by Joseph. Still stays with the Stags and gets the 4-2 at his bounce. Alan Jean Rose with the make there. His first 2 points of the game. They get it in to junior Joseph, and 10 of his 12 points have been in the second half.
Well, good recognition. You realize that junior Joseph was on the smaller crews. Nice high-low.
Cruz spin move, tried to reverse it in that layup, and he's fouled. Just to remind you, the American Athletic Conference, their championship is halfway there. Let's see, 1 game already in the books. Cincinnati squeaking by the top seed Wichita State. Meanwhile, Memphis and Houston in action. Tomorrow's the championship game at 3 Eastern, 3:15 Eastern, over on ESPN. Well, this is a year where there's going to be so interesting because of, how everything's going to shake out, who's going to make that field of 68. And when you look at Joe Lenardi's bracketology, Memphis on that line for the first 4 out.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. That's a big game for Memphis. They are right there on the cut line.
In the conversation too, just about the guys in the studio have been chopping it up about whether Duke makes it to the tournament or not. In your eyes, do they, as they had to withdraw from the ACC tournament? Isaiah Ross, so pretty, wide open look. He studied long and he was able to hit it long. Largest lead of the game for Iona. And Wojcik takes a hard spill to the floor.
I think Isaiah Ross stepped on the defender's foot. He sure did. So let's not go all and one hot sauce here, all right? The guy tripped. His foot was stepped on. Nonetheless, how about the step back, the poise from Ross to hit a big-time 3 in this spot.
And you saw the celebration for the bench. They were like, it doesn't matter. The shot went in, so it's reason to celebrate. Wojcik hits the first, got another one on the way. 6 points for the Stags, leading scorer. Gets them both.
Now Fairfield going to try to pick up, and this is not what they do. They are a half-court defensive team, and a very good one. Pressure is not something that they are accustomed to.
Ross and Gist, that senior backcourt going back and forth. Another senior, Von Eyck, Dylan Von Eyck sees it go in and out, and it stays with the Gales. Three scores now in double figures for Iona, with Gist leading the way at 14, Ross with 13, and Joseph with 12. Joseph tried to split through 2 defenders, lost it. Ball still bouncing on the floor. And Fairfield was able to wrap it up and call a timeout, I believe.
Yeah, the official gave him the timeout. A really good play by Wojcik there to get just to stick his hand in there. He makes so many of those kinds of plays.
You know, they're saying Von Eyck for the personal foul. Rick Pitino, and a Hall of Fame coach, is none too pleased. But when you think of just what he's done with this program, and obviously a lot of starts and stops, we've talked about that before.
Well, he wasn't happy about the timeout call there, and they teed him up because of that. And I don't blame him. I mean, you know, it's kind of a bailout. I mean, it's a loose ball on the ground, and you allow, you know, Fairfield to come away with that there, and Pitino saying to the official, that's not necessary, and I'm with him. I'm with him on that.
So they didn't award Fairfield the timeout, so Jay Young still has that one in his pocket. Either way, Rick Pitino was incensed right now, so he still, John, letting them know he wasn't happy about it. Wojcik, all of his points have come in this second half.
You know, we see Coach Pitino in a tie. He told his team that it's the postseason, and evidently he showed up for this trip to Atlantic City with like an excessive number of bags that the managers, you know, were thinking, who is this, Cher? Like, why do you need that many bags for a trip to the conference tournament? And he said to him, I'm packing for the Final Four. That's how confident the Hall of Famer is.
Well, he's already taken 3 different programs to the NCAA tournament and to the Final Four specifically. Did it with Louisville, Kentucky, and Providence. And this is a redemptive year for Coach Pitino. Well documented, just all of his successes. It hasn't come without controversy as well, but it's been out of college basketball since 2017. It's been a couple of seasons over in Greece coaching, and now he's back after being hired on March 14th, and a chance to be just one of 3 coaches to take 5 different programs to the NCAA tournament.
Well, and let's be honest, Rick Pitino would not be the head coach at Iona if he weren't let go at Louisville. And Iona threw him a bone. You know, they obviously his coaching credentials speak for themselves. He's a heck of a coach. All of the other stuff, the baggage aside, Rick Pitino is in the Hall of Fame for a reason. He's a heck of a coach, and he's going to have this thing going pretty soon here. I mean, he's 4.5 minutes away with an 8-point lead from going to the NCAA tournament in his first season. And you can see the talent, the young talent that they have. But he would not be the head coach here if all of the stuff at Louisville hadn't happened. And that's the reality.
Well, he took over for Tim Clues, who stepped down due to health issues, and now just 4 minutes and 38 seconds from an automatic berth and booking a ticket to Indy are his Iona Gales. A guest who has been sensational from the free throw line, about a 96% free throw shooter through the 3.5 games that we've seen this weekend. He's gotten it done for sure on all facets of this game as Dylan Von Eyck going in. So just when Fairfield closed this game to single digits, stretching it back out to 12 is Iona. Ross crossover, split through the defenders, stolen away. Here's Wojcik out on the break. Cruz, he got it!
Unnecessary on the other end from Isaiah Ross. It's not his game, and you don't need it at this point. Trying to split 3 dudes.
John Luis takes a hard fall to the floor. He is slow to get up. Wojcik whistle for the personal. As John Luis will need some assistance going over the bench. .334 to go in this one. John Luis trying to shake it off. Will step aside and come right back. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by SoFi. Get your money right. And by Levi Recognition solutions that elevate performance.
You're not just another policyholder to us. We remember your name. Hi, Cheryl.
You remembered my name.
Because it's your name. That's simple human sense. Ask your independent agent if auto owners makes sense for you.
Reggie Miller said he moved in for March Madness, but he definitely chose Wendy's for the breakfast.
The tournament doesn't start for like a week.
The tournament doesn't start for like a week.
Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's, official breakfast of March Madness.
Game coming up tonight. You've got the Big 12, the ACC. Take your pick. Pac-12 as well after dark over on ESPN starting at 10:30. What you going to put your eyeballs on there, Chris?
You know, I'm really intrigued by Oklahoma State. I've had them a bunch of times this year. You know, look, it helps to have a special player, a game changer like a Cade Cunningham. But those other freshmen, there are other freshmen on that team not named Cade who are playing really well. Avery Anderson's been on a tear. The key to them is Caleb Boone, though, because they're not a big team up front. They don't have a lot of interior size. Boone has come along nicely this year, but he becomes very important for them, I think, against Texas and then ultimately in the NCAA tournament.
And Texas, of course, advanced that championship game. Kansas, one of the few teams that we've seen around the country having to withdraw from their conference tournament because of positive COVID-19 tests within their program. On the miss, good defense there from Fairfield. Got some work to do. They got to kind of get back into this.
No interest in managing the clock for Iona. Beating the pressure, pulling it out, draining some clock. They are in full attack mode.
Well, you got to think, too, that conversation that they had with their coach, Rick Pitino, yesterday, and putting that foot on the gas. He did not like the way that this group closed out that second half against Niagara in the semifinals. So I said, look, let's not play to just, hold on to this win. Let's close it out.
Yeah, but that game situation was different. That was a tight game by the end. They're up 11 with 2.5 minutes now. The clock ends up, being your biggest opponent at this point, especially if you're not converting. I mean, if they convert that layup there, that's fine.
Well, that was nearly halfway down for Gist before it popped out. Wojcik on the take it. Oh, tough break for Wojcik. And when Fairfield has needed shots and they've looked to their leading scorer in Wojcik or their senior Taj Benning, they just have not dropped as frequently as they would have liked.
Yeah, and they're not a good two-point shooting team. I mean, they're 323rd in the country, so they have had a hard time finishing all year.
And that's one of the areas where Fairfield has had some trials. 8th layup missed today for the Stags, and then you see the frustration at the end of that play from Cruz. It's just been kind of one of those games for Fairfield.
Is it 1-1? 2 shots. Is it 1-1? 2? 1-1. 1-1.
Joseph on the front end of a 1-1. Caleb Green working. Nice kick out. Cruz with a good look.
How about Junior Joseph?
Yeah.
He stops the penetration. He plugs the gap there. And then a hard contest on the perimeter shot. The freshman big.
Fairfield seeing their season hopes of winning a MAC championship and punching a ticket to the NCAA tournament dwindling away. 1 minute and 21 seconds to go. Iona up by 12. Lane violation called against Iona. Green pushing the issue, getting across half court. Attacking, kicks it out. Cruz, good look for 3, won't fall. Gene Rose with the rebound, and you heard the whistle. Goes against Fairfield.
Iona marched to the foul line here. They made free throws. This thing would be long gone.
Yeah.
We know this guy can do it.
We talked about just how good he's been from the free throw line in this tournament, an 88% free throw shooter. Perfect from the line today, and that was what helped Rick Pitino's crew close things out in those final 6 minutes in the semifinal with 10 of 12. The take all the way from Green, and then a quick timeout on the floor. Well, it's time now to take a look at our strong move brought to you by Hercules Tires.
Nelly Junior Joseph, a double-double for the freshman today. 12 points, 11 boards. The freshman from Nigeria came from the NBA Academy, Africa in Senegal. Guy who had a hard time getting over here. He actually arrived on Iona's campus a week after school had already started. There was a travel ban and then some civil unrest in Nigeria, and so the embassy was closed. He had a hard time getting a visa, just a hard time getting over here. A lot of these guys did. There were 5 international players on Iona's team, and because of the travel bans and things like that, it was hard to get these guys on the campus in the summer. It's been, man, such a chaotic year for Iona. We talked about the 51-day pause, longest of any team in the country this year. They had another lengthy pause of 18-plus days. And yet here they are as a 9 seed. The most talented team in the MAC ended up with a 9 seed in this tournament. But they are on the precipice of the NCAA tournament.
They have done so, putting a collection of wins together, trying to win their 4th game in 4 days. And this Gales group already with 12 MAC crowns, trying to add some hardware. Final minute of this one. The pressure from the Stags, picking up full court. And a turnover, double dribble there. And Stags, that falls in their favor. So now let's see if they can cut this thing, get back in it. Down by 12.
Patino just telling Barrett John Luis, the building's not on fire.
Binning leaves it short, front iron, and then last touch by the Stag senior. Well, you know this Iona group can sense it, and for a senior like Taj Binning, that shot is just not falling for him today.
The previous play is under review.
So with the play under a review,
we see who the ball went out of bounds, I would imagine. And Rick Pitino calling the timeout to try to organize his team against that press.
Would look like it was last thrown off of Taj Binning. Meanwhile, a chance for both of these teams to regroup. And so if we're inside the huddle, Chris, what's Jay Young saying to his group trailing by 12?
Well, you press, you pick up like they did on the last possession. Yeah, and I think they got the call right. I don't think that ever hit John Luis. I mean, you pick up, you know, the problem is against this team, all of these guards, with the exception of John Luis, can make free throws. Asante Gist, like you said earlier, 88% from the line. Isaiah Ross, 83%.
Brandon Cruz, Andy O'Brien, and Adam, Vanderbilt, our officials here for today. This MAC championship being consumed more from home than fans inside Boardwalk Hall. Only family and friends were allowed throughout the tournament, so playing before an empty gym, but that's something that many of these players have grown accustomed to. That's just what the last year in this world has led to. The pandemic has changed a lot of things, but trying to finish off the conference season, and yeah, you gotta call that one. Taking it to the bank, that was Taj Binning, banking it home for three. So Green, they get it in to John Luis, and John Luis, that's the guy that you want to foul. As you mentioned, Chris, a 60% free throw shooter. Fourth trip to the line, he's made 2 of his first 3.
Front rim, gain pressure.
The junior lets it go. Misses both. So Fairfield still with an opportunity window open. Green kicks it over. Cruz trying to take it all the way, and an offensive foul called against Jesus Cruz. Isaiah Ross got position.
I mean, I like the decision to drive the basketball. That's a block to me. That is not a. I mean, he's a secondary defender there, and he's sliding his feet over, which you are not allowed to do. That's a block.
Got to get position outside that restricted area with your feet set.
I got
31.3 seconds to go for those of you looking for the SWAC championship. We'll join them just as soon as this game